you're just going to near pub.
Can you do that?
It's doing the same thing that you've done. IWHT.
Is it all in caps? Yeah.
Hold on. Put your name. No, you can put Alan. That's it. No. No, no.
Regular name.
No. Alright, I'm starting, so it'll be right over here. Oh. You need your heart and soul books to get that up. Anybody need a book? Okay. Anybody need a book? Alright, Abby's passing out paper just for you to answer your questions on as we go through it. We're in chapter 9. We'll turn to chapter 9.
Go.
Alright, giving you 5 seconds to get to your seat. 4, 3,
There's one right here.
2, 1, 0. Okay, so I don't see Alan open the chapter 9. Page 71. Somebody take the pens off of my area. Use a red pen. It doesn't matter what color you write it. Sarah, grab a red pen. 5, 4, 3. Alex, sit down. Alright, stop. I'm going to give everybody 5 seconds to get yourself figured out and get to your seats. 4, 3, 2, 1. Jordan, you don't have to join us on Nearpod, you just have to pay attention up here, okay? Do you have a heart and soul book?
Yeah.
Okay, open to chapter 9. Alright, the popcorn. Hard times in World War II. My Uncle Jesse had a farm down in Alabama with horses, cows, and chickens. He raised cotton and peanuts, but also had a little patch of fruit and vegetables. Uncle Jesse and his family had made a good life for themselves out there in the country. Popcorn.
Most of his neighbors were white folks, but there were a few black farmers sprinkled about. He often had trouble with his white neighbors because they considered him competition. In the South, black folks had to be careful about doing too well. If they raised a better crop than their white neighbors, their crops and mills could end up in flames. For a spell, there were quite a few black planters in the South, but that changed when the fall weevils cotton industry, so they had some real hard times in the South as well. Most northerners worked in factories, eating much more than southerners who so mostly lived in the countryside and worked on the farm. Very soon things got even harder. On Thursday, October 23rd, 1925, the U.S. stock market crashed. Only a day before business was great, and stocks were traded at higher prices than they ever had been. But that Tuesday, Americans could only watch as the market fell and stockbrokers panicked, selling the same stock for pennies on the dollar. Banks, mines, and other businesses went bankrupt. Soon the country was plunged into a very bad economic time called the Great Depression. Millions of people lost every nickel they kept in the banks, and many more lost their jobs and then their homes. Black folks were hit especially hard. Many were thrown off the land they worked and were forced to live in poverty. Some Southerners were able to keep their jobs because the cost of labor was much less than up north. But their pay fell so low, it wasn't enough to live on. Millions of people were scared and hungry. Everywhere there were long food lines, and people in New York who lost their homes set up tents and sleephuts. And things were states were a drought in the Midwest. Crops dried up, and farmers were forced to abandon their land. People looked upward from the government, but the black folks on Capitol Hill
All right, who can tell me, just based on that paragraph, what was the Great Depression? What was the Great Depression? Jody?
The Great Depression was the, like, you know how there was, the bombing of Pearl Harbor? Then it says it led to World War II, but it was, World War II was after the Great Depression.
Okay. So what happened during the Great Depression?
Oh yeah.
What?
Everybody, like, the streets were like empty with elbows, and the Civil War left everybody homeless. The Great Depression.
Yep. There's something to add. Riley?
What happened was that millions of people lost their homes. Farmers were forced to abandon their land because crops dried up, and people looked for help from the government, but the folks on Capitol Hill couldn't do as much, and many millions of people lost every nickel they kept in banks, and many more lost their jobs and then their homes. Many black folks were thrown off the land they worked and were forced to live in poverty.
Very good. I like how Riley pulled some text evidence. Okay, so we're going to be talking about in this chapter, what are we going to be talking about mostly? Based on what we've read so far, the title, what are we going to read? What's this chapter going to be mostly about? Leon?
What happened after World War II?
Okay, the Great Depression and World War II a little bit. So that's what we're going to be reading about, but our purpose for reading is going to be my favorite thing, which is figurative language. This is fun for me to teach, and it's fun for you to learn because we get to do more interactive stuff with it. So who knows what figurative language is? Who's ever heard the term figurative language? Okay. Who knows what it is? Kind of, Riley? What do you kind of know about it?
Figurative language might be like a type of language, like maybe like how like spoken, like using different words than basic conversation.
Okay, kind of. What do you think, Cameron?
It means like, well, I can't really explain it, but I have an example of it. like there's an example of hit the lights, that just means to turn off the lights or
Do you know
turn them
what kind
on.
of figurative language that is? No? Okay. No. Just not right now. So,
After this,
yes. Our learning goal is I can compare and contrast different points of view. Who knows what a point of view is? Jaslyn?
Point of view is the way the story is being told.
Very good, the way the story is being told. So we've worked on point of view so much this year. We're all kind of like at a 2 or a 3 on the scale there. So thinking about figurative language, I'm thinking about kind of like Cameron said, things that maybe don't mean exactly how they sound. So as they read, I just kind of want you to keep that in your mind. Now, I'm going to continue reading, but I'm going to ask you a question, which is number 1 up on the board, as soon as I'm done with this very next short paragraph. So the question is, what was the Great Depression like for ordinary Americans? So not necessarily for African Americans, not necessarily for slaves, just ordinary Americans. So I want you to think about that as I read the next paragraph. The hard times lasted for about 10 years. All the while, Adolf Hitler, a new leader for Germany who had come to power in 1933, started making trouble in Europe. It was only the beginning of something bigger than anyone could have ever imagined. So what are you imagining the Great Depression is going to be like for ordinary people? Just the average family. What do you think it's going to be like? Leah, what do you think it's going to be like? You think it's going to be heartbreaking?
because a lot of people might die, and they might there's a war, and might not enough soldiers left because of like the World War I, after World War I, when the slaves and they might not have a lot of soldiers left, so they might like take a teenager and
Very
put
good.
them in the war.
I like that answer. What do you think, John?
Same thing, what Leo said, but I want to add in, I think, like you said, like, after, whatever you said, I know what you said, like, when the Great Depression was going on, it left people homeless, so I'm gonna think, like, and what about, like, all the people, like, that lost their homes?
Okay. Here's what I want you to think about.
Heartbreaking.
I agree, heartbreaking. Here's what I want you to think about for a second. And you're going to share with your partner. African American slaves had it pretty bad. And then the Great Depression happened. And then everybody had it bad. I want you to talk to a partner about whether or not you think people's opinions changed towards slaves or African American people because everybody had experienced what they had experienced. 1 minute, you're discussing that. Do you think their opinions changed? Do you work with Abby or Sarah or you join TJ? Abby, you join Lee, Sarah join Katie.
The Great Depression is very hard. It'd be really hard.
And then nothing goes on.
They also don't have
I think they all. It would have to. Yeah, but it's not. It's not the black people.
So I do think that
Some black people are rich. So you never know if the department
it would be really hard. wait, and then again, and they put it in that most likely
I think it's shorts. Alright. Back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, who wants to share what they talked about? Who wants to share what they talked about? Abby. Okay, so you think that they did change their mind? Preston, what did your group think? Do you think their minds changed?
Yeah, because they like went homeless. They didn't have that much money anymore, and they probably like felt what it was like.
I think that's a really good way to word it. And I was kind of talking to Raven and Alexander's group to kind of help them understand what I'm asking. And when you connected to yesterday's lesson when we talked about you can only truly feel somebody's feelings if you've been through the same experience. And although it wasn't the exact same experience, all of a sudden all these people who were wealthy at one point are now experiencing living in poverty or even being homeless, like Jordan said. So they now can somehow relate to these people who were slaves. So based on that, now that they can relate, are they going to think about that person differently? One more person to share. Jacob.
I think they'll feel bad about it and think all that life.
Alright, continuing. The last little section on page 72 is where we're at. In the late 30s, a young black boxer by the name of Joe Louis, or Louis, I don't know, fought a German fighter named Max. Hitler bragged that Max was going to show the world how Germans were a supreme race by winning the fight. Hitler didn't care much for black folks or anyone else who wasn't blonde and blue-eyed. Joe lost the fight. Joe had lost to that young man 2 years before and hoped to fix things on this go-round. It grew into a really big thing, something closer to a huge political event rather than a boxing match. The eyes of the whole world were fixed on those two young men. When the bell rang, Joe jumped out of his corner and beat that poor fellow into a pulp in a single round. Just saying, I spotted some figurative language in there. So much for supreme, honey. We celebrated, but deep down we all knew that it was just a boxing match. The real fight was much worse. Popcorn.
We followed what was happening in Europe.
Alexandra.
Listening to the radio and reading the papers. It was such a frightful thing. The Nazis had it in their minds. The Nazis had it in their minds to take over the whole world. They had taken over Germany by assassinating political leaders and began invading neighboring countries. By the middle of 1941, the Nazis had occupied much of Europe, and even worse, there were rumors that they were murdering the Jewish people by the thousands, shooting, starving, gassing, and burning those poor people to death. America tried to stay out of it, but then on Sunday, December 7th, 1941, Japanese planes flew over to Hawaii and bombed our naval base at Pearl Harbor, killing thousands of servicemen in a surprise attack. We couldn't stay out of it anymore, honey. It was time to saddle up and fight. The next day, President Franklin Roosevelt declared war on Japan, and every person in America left behind them. Young men and women from every state signed up to serve in that war, and many more were drafted. Lord knows I Some white folks who thought this was the white man's war and turned black folks from they went. I know but he had as much to use as they did. Maybe even more considering the name the truck feeling about us. Some black folks thought that the worst person of the young black men was in the United States Army. And they were right, too. Black soldiers were at the mercy of their white superiors. Some of whom were Southerners who didn't like black folks. They were separated from white soldiers and sent to the front line battle and made to swab the decks, cook, clean, and unload weapons from ships. That wasn't the service we signed up for. Some black soldiers didn't mind it, but a lot of those young men signed up to fight, not serve for seeing up half the white folks.
White officers believed that black men weren't smart or brave enough to fight with the white soldiers on fly planes or drive jigs.
Okay, stop there. That is what I go. You finish it. That's where I'm going to go into question 2. So, do you agree with the narrator when she says in the last full paragraph on page 74, so back where we just were, that African Americans had as much or more to lose as whites if Hitler won the war? So we're thinking, if Hitler won the war, would African American people as a whole, not just slaves, all of them, would they have more to lose than the white people? Go back with your partner and talk.
There's a certain amount of black Hitler takes away the black people. They're there more. I mean, there's nothing hurt them to kill them, so they're going to lose more. Yeah, money, yeah. I'm trying to say is that both sides we got to all my people think it's both sides. So I'm trying to say because he can wipe out all both sides. I don't know.
Alright, back in 5, 3, 2, 1, 0. I don't see eyes. Thank you. Alright, so this one I kind of want to take a minute to talk about because I got quite a few interesting answers. I heard Jordan and Billy talking about the tangible or physical things that they'll lose. So they talked about losing, like the white people lived in mansions. That's what they're imagining. They lived in mansions. They had a lot more money. So if Hitler won the war, then the white people would have to give all of their things up. Who thought of it as something different? Preston, what do you guys think?
We thought that he would kill like all the black people
Lexi, thought the black people had more to lose?
What?
Did you think black people had more to lose?
Yeah.
Sarah, what do you think?
I think that like they should be treated equally because they're the same people. Just they have the same they have the same body parts. Inside. But it doesn't matter what they're on the outside.
So who do you think had more to lose? Or do you think they all had a lot to lose?
They all have.
Do you think it's equal? One more, Leah.
I think it was all that had most people because the black people have a certain amount of them and the white people have a lot amount of them. So I heard Jordan how they said like they would take away the mansions, but so did the black people have mansions. They were wealthy too. On chapter 8, I showed a picture of the black wealthy people. It's white people are not the only ones that are wealthy. Some of the black people. And like what I'm trying to say is that Hitler could just kill every single black person in a second if he wanted to, but he killed a lot of them.
Here's what came to my mind. The first thing I thought of when I saw this question, Preston, was I was thinking back to the phrase in here when it said that Hitler basically hated everybody except for people with blonde hair and blue eyes. And that's what made me think that everybody probably had an equal amount of things to lose.
Yep, blonde hair.
Because although a lot of white people have blonde hair and blue eyes, there are also a lot of white people who don't have blonde hair and blue eyes. Raise your hand if you have blonde hair and blue eyes in this class.
Raise your hand.
Blonde hair and so we have like 2, 3, 2, no, just blonde hair and blue eyes, not or, blonde hair and blue eyes. So we have 2 people in this entire class. So to me, I'm thinking there were equal parts. Black people had a lot to lose and white people had a lot to lose. Well, yeah, but I'm just gonna do that. I don't know if I would pass the test really. It's kind of strawberry one. Alright, but after we invaded Europe in the summer of 1944, the First Lady, Eleanor Roosevelt, pushed President Roosevelt to put black soldiers in the fight. Go ahead, Alexandra.
She had a good heart and was a great friend to black folks and anyone who was in need. The military gave in, calling it an experiment. The Tuskegee Airmen, the 332nd, and the 761st Tank Battalion were put into action. Now, I'm not bragging much, but our boys were some of the best combat soldiers and bomber escorts in the world. The 332nd pilots had the record for losing the fewest bomber planes in more than 200 missions and were so good at escorting and projecting them that they were specially requested for the job. When most tank battle missions lasted only 17 days on the battlefield, the 761st, an all-black unit, fought for 183 days straight, longer than any other battalion in the whole war. They helped with the Battle of the Bulge, and I'm proud to say that both of my brothers were right there with them, giving it to the Germans. But what would you believe after all that fighting they did for the country, the black soldiers were mostly ignored? White units got their medals during the war and were even commended by the president, while the soldiers weren't honored until several decades later. It didn't make sense. We had gone to war for our country to stop racist people from taking over the world, and yet at home Jim Crow held us in his grip just as tightly as before. When the war was over, both of my brothers returned and saw that nothing had changed. They had been to places like France and England, where black folks were treated just the same as white folks, and came only to sit in the bus, in the front of the bus. We figured if our soldiers were able to fight and defeat racism overseas, why couldn't we do it here? The stories about equality in Europe let us know that this kind of thing was possible. It weighed heavy on our minds and pushed many of us to stand up again to fight for what we deserve. It was time to make things right. Jim Crow's days were numbered.
Okay. We just have 2 more questions. The first one you're going to do with a partner, and then the last one you're going to do on your own. So this one says, how were African American soldiers involved in the war, and how did they feel about their role? So you're team talking this one, so you're doing partner, back with your person. You have 1 minute, and then we're moving on to the last one.
The African American soldiers around in my background. Yeah.
Get your own chair. They had the
Yeah, Hitler would still be president.
Okay, back to 5. 4, 3, 2,
Yeah,
1. I am going to only take 2 people to share their answers for this one before we move on. Let's do Jacob.
They want me to say? Yeah. Alright. So what me and Jacob and teacher were talking about is it states that the black people did one of the best jobs. But if they didn't have the black people, Hitler would be taking over America right now, and he'd still be president. Because the black people dead. I know, but the black people protected the bombers. They were one of the best bomber protectors. And they didn't have it. They would have lost the war because they were one of the best, and we needed support and everything.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is that if we didn't have the black people right now, we would be taking over America because they were one of the best and they protected the bombers.
Okay, so you're saying because we had more help and more support.
Yep.
That way you know. Alright, 1 more. Okay, Jasmine. Favorite.
The African American soldiers, they did a lot of stuff for the war. Like the narrator said that her brothers were the head bombers, and they were like picked especially to do the job. And when they went home and they weren't noticed by the president or anything until a long time later, they knew that they had to do something.
Alright, last one that you're doing on your own is the exit ticket. So you're writing the answer to this on your paper. It says, do you agree with the narrator when she says in the last full paragraph that they have more to lose? So you're editing your thought from before, or you can still say the same, but this time I'm going to need text evidence. So, if you're agreeing, then you're going to say, I agree because, and here's my evidence. Or, if you're disagreeing, you're saying, I disagree because, and here's my evidence. Okay, write it down. You gotta write it down. Okay, no, alright.
What was the last question?
Look at your computer. Start on your computer.
No, this one.
Do they have to work by
Oh, I'll go over it in a minute. do this one. So TJ, I see you writing.
Okay.
When you're done with that, bring it to me, and then you're gonna just get started on the assignment on Canvas. What are you doing? What is the answer?
Yeah.
You're doing the pregnancy assignment on part of the phone test again.
Now can I
No, you remember using desktops. But you have to use it on desktop now. Once you answer, once I get your paper, with the answer to this, you know this one.
I can't go home. But I can just read it.
But you have to answer this first.
How long? How much questions?
Just go over on the board.
I can't see that.
You can answer it on your own paper then, sorry. Can you answer it on this one? Can you please space and answer it on there? There's 10. Whatever.
Miss Addington.
Oh, thank you. Alright, you're going?
When you're done, do we just go to Canvas?
Yeah, bring me your paper and we'll go to
Wait,
Canvas.
my
My learning.
Do you ever do my